Okay, we guys, I'm sorry we had a little technical difficulty. Those that may have been waiting and watching, we are live. We are live, and I'm coming at you with five. As always, I'm your gracious host, Gavin Richard. Welcome to Gavin Richard Presents here on channel G278. Watching on Gavin Richard, my other YouTube channel, on Facebook, and on Periscope, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We have on with us, as always, our friends of the show, King Bernard Johnson, Brother Bernard. Of course, he is a co-panelist on the Judge Joe Brown show, produced by Valerie Denise Jones, along with myself. Shout out to Bernard. Bernard, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. Just another episode of the crazy world we live in today. And I'll explain more of it as we get into it.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I know we're gonna get into it. And of course, you guys know this brother. He is the author of Eternal Night. He also has the new John Haynes series book out. Uh, he's worked on at least 75 books. He's author of The Man Crisis, as well as Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Please give it up for Mr. Shawn James. How you doing, brother Shawn?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I would have my topics already on hand that would pop up for everybody, so I'd have to put them in a second. But I want to apologize to all that may have been watching. But we'll start with this because we talked about this beforehand last week. But I talked about Cuomo as a no-go. More new information has come out. Apparently, there is a headline from it was on Microsoft News that there are more growing calls for Andrew Cuomo to step down as police officers have obtained a roping report. This is reported by uh, NBC News. Resignation demands grow higher. Majority of New York State lawmakers signed a letter uh, in support of Andrew Cuomo stepping down as a new allegation of misconduct emerges. It says here that New York Governor's Andrew Cuomo's grip on power appeared increasingly threatened Thursday as a majority of state legislators called for his resignation, and police in the capital city said they were aware of a new harassment allegation against the state's chief executive. The firestorm around the Democrat grew a day after the Times Union of Albany reported that an unidentified aide had claimed Cuomo reached under her skirt and fondled her after summoning her to his official residence late last year. Cuomo said he never touched anyone inappropriately. A lawyer for the governor said Thursday that she reported the allegation to the police after the woman involved declined to do so. So, Shawn, we had Reverend Clenard Childress on last week. We said that Cuomo was done, and it certainly looks like if this were Rome and Italy, everybody would have the thumbs up to get rid of him. It's not the thumbs down as traditionally everybody thinks, but it was a thumb up, meaning send him to the lions. And certainly, it's starting to look that way. So I'll let you talk about your favorite governor because I know you love him very much, Shawn. You
Uh, I don't really love this guy, but I saw this coming over a year ago, and sadly, this is the inevitable thing. Is he's going to be forced to resign? The pressure is just too much at this point, and with this most recent allegation of sexual assault, there is practically no way out for Andrew Cuomo at this point. And if we look at history again, we look at former Governor Elliot Spitzer, who was forced to resign because of his prostitution scandal. This is
yeah.
just a precursor to what's going to happen to Andrew Cuomo. He cannot hold on to power much longer with these allegations of sexual harassment and the COVID-19 nursing home scandal. He's just not in a place where he can be seen as fit to govern or fit to lead at this point. He's just got too many liabilities. And sooner or later, it's not just the state officials going to be coming after him. It's also going to be the Washington Democrats coming after him because the longer he stays in power, the worse it is for the
Yeah.
party. And he's a liability to the party at this point because they're looking at the 2022 congressional and state house elections where they are already vulnerable due to that COVID-19 nursing home scandal already hitting 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. That's not 5, but 4. But those 4 states, they look like all those governors are vulnerable. And Andrew Cuomo is the most vulnerable overall. And I forgot to mention California, which is already in the middle of a recall. But this is a very bad place for Andrew Cuomo at this point. And he has no choice but to resign, because the longer he stays, the longer it hurts the party, and the longer it leads to that, again, inevitable bloodbath. And what he's afraid of is going to lead to the domino effect, but the domino effect is going to happen because a lot of the people in Andrew Cuomo's party did a lot of stuff that was unethical during the pandemic, and sadly, a lot of that stuff is what's going to lead to their downfall. But what's really sad about this whole situation is that people are not really paying attention to the thousands of people who lost their lives in the COVID-19 cover-up.
Yes.
They're not focused on that. The real reason why they want to get this man to resign is based on these women, which really shows us how gynocentric our government is. I mean, you're sitting there thinking it's all about these women, but the thing that will make me say he needs to resign is that nursing home scandal and all of those, not only elderly people who lost their lives as a result of his decision, and it was also mentally disabled people who lost their lives because they also go to nursing homes as well. And he put all those people's lives at risk, all to spite one man, Donald Trump. And that just is completely unethical, completely egregious. And we keep covering over that by talking about these women. These women are nothing compared to the nursing home scandal, which is a complete violation of ethics, a complete compromise of the office of governor, and showed that he is just not fit to lead. And that right there, as I see it, is the reason why he needs to resign. But everybody wants to make it about sexual harassment, which shows me how gynocentric and dysfunctional our society is.
All right, go ahead, Bernard Bernard.
Well, Shawn couldn't have said it no better, because I talk about it all the time. I said, look, the women thing is a smokescreen, really, because, I mean, when I look at it like, okay, we had the big thing about the nursing home scandal, which I already knew about last year, because Ted Cruz had questioned him on CNN one night about that. That was actually last year. But, I mean, the women thing is a smokescreen, because they say, oh, we're going to impeach you, but we're going to try to impeach you of sexual harassment, not the real cause what you should be getting impeached for. Matter of fact, you shouldn't just be getting impeached. See, I'm not for impeachment. See, I'm for prison charges. What you did was not only was it unconstitutional, but it was also unethical, and also this is like murder, because you know what you're doing to do a cover up. That's the more egregious part. Not my grandma and grandpa, dad, somebody died in the nursing home because of your incompetence, and you want me to worry about some 6 women? I mean, what is that, like 0.001% of people I'm worried about? Now I need to know about the people that died in those nursing homes. That's what I need to know about. So to me, it's just media running cover for something unethical, but they're gonna block it out and use it on the other end and say, well, read it, we're gonna change the women issue and highlight and take the spotlight off him for people to die.
Yeah. And not only that, what he did was he also made it where those nursing homes were not liable for any of those deaths. So he did a lot of egregious stuff here.
Yeah, and I have to tend to agree with you. Like, where do these women just come from out of the blue? Where they're just saying this? They didn't say this last year, when 2020, I guess during the election season, they didn't say it and talk about it. Biden's history. They tried actually to discredit Tara Reid when she accused Joe Biden of sexual misconduct, and to the point where they put an op-ed out in the New York Times, or the USA Today, excuse me, where a former prosecutor tried to discredit her. And he's got more accusers, really, just as growing number of accusers like Bill Cosby and even Cuba Gooding Jr., and yet nothing has happened to him. But everybody wants to react to those accusations and not to the accusations of what's going on in those nursing homes. To me, that is the bigger crisis and the bigger issue. What you have here going on, ladies and gentlemen, is an attempt to continue pushing this Me Too narrative to give it more credence. Because remember, as of last year, everything was suspended, right, Shawn?
Yeah,
Nobody was talking about it.
yeah, the media was not covering the Cuomo story at all. In fact, they were just
No, I mean
they
Me Too
buried
in
the story.
general.
Yeah, Me
I'm
Too
talking
was
about me.
buried. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Me Too movement was silent for the most of the year. I mean, they came out with Tara Reid, but then Tara Reid, they buried the story and they just disappeared. And then all of a sudden they popped back up. They were trying to go after black men, but then all of a sudden this comes back up and they go after Andrew Cuomo.
Right. And I think that most definitely he's done. I wonder what's going to happen though with his brother on CNN, because remember he couldn't talk about it. Don Lemon has been talking about it. Don Lemonade. Uh, I don't really care for CNN. I've honestly stopped watching CNN. My parents, of course, they put it on all the time, and it's all propaganda because everything that they're still talking about Donald Trump. Everywhere this is about Trump is this. Trump did this. We've got Trump's tax records. He's not a president anymore. He's not the president anymore. So why is he? If I say something bad about Biden and it's proven, but you won't. Well, he wasn't no worse than Trump. Really? That's all you got?
It's like the Trump cycle is over. We're now to be focused on the Biden cycle.
Right, and I'm telling people a lot of stuff that Biden has. Let's get into Biden now, but this thing we'll keep monitoring this thing with Andrew Cuomo. I see here that there are over 65. Here's the thing. Here's the number: 65 Democrats to 56 Republicans in the state assembly and the Senate believe that Cuomo can no longer govern and should quit office, according to the Associated Press tally. So that's over 121 members of the state and Senate that are calling for his resignation. So that's very interesting, and say that his support in the Senate was exceptionally thin, and roughly 2/3 of its members have called for the Democrats' resignation, including Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins. So that's something to watch. But I think this tells everybody the danger of politicians, the danger of the Democrat and even the Republican Party, because more of the Democrat, because they want to choose sides only when it's convenient for them, not for when it's right, not for when it's wrong, not when it's right, just when it's wrong for them to be a part of. Because this Me Too era, I think a lot of people have caught on to it, that it's just baseless allegations that people throw. While there may be some women who have legitimate complaints, I don't uh, deny that at all. I think that it gets to a point where you're just throwing accusations and you're not bringing facts. There's no way to prove any of that. But let's go on. Computer Robots is in the building. He says, I love it when Shawn tells it like it is as usual. He also said, I don't know where Matilda and Mario get Chris and Andrew, but again, the Cuomo men have destructive systems in their genes, and everything they touch dies. Kid Gravity, that's cold, but hey, y'all in New York, y'all know more about it than me. Good afternoon, good evening, Kid Gravity. Farside asks, did any of us watch President Biden tonight? Well, let's talk about that. That is our next topic.
I did watch a little bit of that.
I heard him on the radio.
I listened to a little bit of it. I did not get to hear all of it because I was out and doing something else important. No, I was coming home, but I did listen to some of it on my way. And Biden has signed the COVID-19 relief bill. He's also a couple of bills have passed through Congress, including a background check bill on private sale of private gun ownership. Of course, that has not passed the Senate as of now. But CNN and others on the left were celebrating this as closing the major loopholes, which really doesn't exist. But nevertheless, they tried to use the Mother Emanuel shooting as a reason for this bill to be passed. On CNN's ticker at the bottom, they even mentioned that that's what got Dylan Roof ability to buy all of those guns and kill 9 people. But nevertheless, he signs the COVID relief bill, which should give Americans $1,400 in checks that should be possibly arriving soon. He's also addressed the nation tonight. And one of the things I listened to in his address, he talked about violence and bigotry against the Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And he said, and his words were, I quote, "It is wrong, it is un American, and it must stop." Uh, he said it's time for America to get back to work and back to normal. And he's trying to make vaccines available for everyone, for all adults by May 1st and have the country back. That's the goal, I guess, sometime by July. Uh, Gentlemen, so some of you all have seen, obviously, the uh, seeing this with regards to Joe Biden. What were your thoughts, Bernard? I'll start with you since Shawn started earlier.
What about what he said tonight?
Yes.
Typical bullshit, but but I just listened to how you're just pleading people to take the vaccine. Then that Asian thing that they had a thing last night came on NBC. I think it was Soul of the Nation or something. The
It's on
racism
ABC.
and the virus. Yeah,
Soul of the Nation.
yeah. Hey, Dr.
Okay.
Common.
I think that's
But
ABC.
yeah. But this just another plain thing talking about, well, we don't want to go on restrictions again and stuff. What he should have been honest with you and said to the people in a more context of speaking that, hey, like Marjorie Taylor Greene said, you already got $1 trillion that left from last time, and you're gonna pass this package. I mean, all you're doing is putting the country more in debt and you're enslaving people. And by the way, Gavin, I'm only gonna get $1,400. You might get 1,400. Shawn might get 1,400, but and everybody else might get
They're
so and so.
millionaires.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we get 9%. The companies, the special interest groups, foreign countries get 91%. It
Yeah.
is what it is. But at the end of the day, you got screwed for possibly not even a mortgage payment, while they running around with billions and trillions of dollars. So thank you very much, but no thank you.
Hmm.
The speech was crap, and he spent more time trying to convince you about taking the vaccine than in Asian American racism. So the speech was crap, and then he didn't answer no questions to the press. Of course, he just walked off. So it is what it is.
So wait, he didn't answer. Was it a press conference or was it? I thought it was just an
It,
address like they did, like when
It was an
Reagan would give
address.
us.
it was
Yeah,
it was an address. It was just practically farcical.
right.
It was just him talking in circles and just making a lot of things all about the vaccine and all about Asians. But I had to ask a critical question. What about Black Americans? I mean, we went through something again with this whole George Floyd thing where it looks like they're getting ready to set up to try to get this Chauvin guy off. And he's talking again about this
Yeah.
$1,400, this small change, which is just pennies on the dollar compared to what these other countries are getting and what these corporations are getting. I mean, Main Street USA has lost almost all of its businesses, and Joker Joe is just—he's running a game on people, and people don't even how they're being played. And I listened to that again. That speech was just a pure farce, and it was more a lot of his making wishful thinking and empty symbolism because everything was about the vaccine and it didn't think about the suffering people went through, not only just these lockdowns, but where's the things to talk about mental health? Because a lot of people now are struggling with mental health issues due to the long-term unemployment, due to the kids being out of school. I mean, kids are going to be held back, some of them 2-3 grades because they lost a lot. I mean, they don't want to deal with the long-term effects of these lockdowns. All we get is, oh, we're going to come back. But it's like, no, this is a long, rough road, and you just need to tell the truth about how rough it is. But all they want to do is try to pass this stimulus screw job over to people, make them feel good for a minute, but not deal with the long-term damage that was been done from this whole year of disaster.
Yeah, it's been over a year. It's hard to believe a year of COVID. When we were just on lockdown, it seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
I remember when this whole thing started and break was coming along. We were forced to come home from work, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I think on a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. And I thought, well, we were back. I didn't think anything of it, but now it turned into months, and people were not able to go anywhere, not able to go out. The only thing you could do was get out essentials. Businesses have already closed, but I knew that's Sleepy Joe. I mean, really, do y'all think he's running things?
No, he's
No,
not
No,
running things.
no,
no,
he's
shadow government.
basically Ronald Reagan. He, he's Ronald Reagan 2.0. And
Shadow government.
well, I think with Ronald, like I didn't see I'm glad I knew it was going to be some BS anyway. I don't really watch those addresses because presidents are reading from a teleprompter anyway. But he's promising things for all of these other groups: Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, immigrants. Just this week, I just saw a headline that he's approved uh, full benefits or sex conversion or sex changes for transgenders in the military, both who have served and those that are currently serving. They can get full benefits from that. So uh, all of these other groups are getting these rights, but yet when Black Americans have asked for something from the president, it's always we get pushed to the back. And I got it. I remember I got into it, Bernard and Shawn. I
Denied
told you about
neglect.
this. I got into it with somebody over that uh, thing I was saying. I said, when they get in, that's something that's going to happen. And Barack Obama was doing it. They were actually doing studies on homosexuality, uh, where they were actually, like at John Hopkins Hospital, that they were researching, they were giving monies towards that. So I just find it interesting that how is it we can invest so much in one particular group who don't even make up less, and I'm not knocking anybody, I don't want anybody to run with this being homophobic or transphobic. That's not what it is, but I'm just looking at it from a political standpoint and a human standpoint, and as a Black man, where are our benefits and tangibles for all the stuff that we have been through? And for a president to get up here, condemn these, but says nothing about, when you ask for things for Black people, we get Kamala. Well, I'm not going to do anything that just benefits Black people. No, you get, well, I can't do anything. It depends on how much it is and whether Native Americans are included. You just included Native Americans in your bill, that COVID rescue bill. There's over almost $1 billion that's being allocated to those different nations. I looked at it. I showed it to Shawn last week. Did I not?
Yes, you did.
We talked about it. $900 million allocated to Native American tribes and groups for their infrastructures. Yet when Black Americans ask for stuff, you can't get it. Well, we're going to allocate it to these programs. And you got punk ass Bill Maher. I said it. I don't care. I never thought, I stopped watching Real Time with Bill Maher years ago. The only reason why he and John Oliver they got those shows is because they kissed the ass of the Democrats. That's all it is. It's a bootlicking show. News should always be unbiased. It should not be partial to a particular party. I'm just tired of seeing all of this. We're polluted.
Yep. That's a big problem with a lot of our news media. It's not really presenting us with objective journalism. And a lot of the journalism they're presenting with is subjective, it's opinion. There's no real facts. And I went into this in a video I just did about Pepe Le Pew and now at the New York Times and how they're not really giving us journalism over there. I mean, even though it was an op-ed piece, no sort of research done at all on this piece. Same
But
thing
he's
with the
been
piece.
pulled from the. I'm sorry, Shawn, but he's been pulled from the Space Jam movie, the new one.
Yeah, I know he's been pulled, but it shouldn't have been pulled because that article was not journalism. And even though it was op-ed, it was just not up to journalistic standards. Same thing with an article I saw in CNN where a woman talked about the word simp being used for bullying. Again, the woman did not do her research. And this is what I'm finding with a lot of these news media outlets is a lot of these people are presenting opinions, but not presenting any objective facts and not presenting us with anything so that we can see a balanced picture of what's going on. And that's one of the things that really irritates me about today's media is we're just getting opinion presented as news, but not getting presented objective journalism that gives people an understanding of the what is being presented and allowing them to draw their own observations and conclusions regarding the material.
Yeah, Shawn, you got something to add?
That was it.
No, I meant
Bernard.
Bernard. I'm sorry.
Man, look here, man. Let me tell you something about that daggone thing you talking about. You know something? I knew he was gonna put that thing with Native Americans in there. I already knew that was coming. I knew all of it. I said, watch this. They trying to make a casinos here in Richmond for Native American. Man, this thing getting kind of wild, man. I'm not even mad about it. I'm just sitting there saying, look, all you boomers and all you coons that wanted this food, this is gonna be some benign neglect for your ass. Or you about to really get slapped. Police brutality is up and they're gonna cover it up now. Okay? I'm not sure about the George Floyd thing. They probably will let him get off. But
Well,
I know this for a fact. That thing in Plano, Texas, shout out to Shaq. He was pointing out to me, running in chat. That happened. What the woman say that her son was got urine or something like
yeah,
that?
I was gonna talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's fine.
they gotta whip
It's
but they
fine.
gotta whip ass on stuff like that, man.
But yeah, what I'm saying is all this benign neglect. If you thought that police was acting up under Obama, you can see what they did. And the media not even reported. They gonna actually cover it less with him in the office than Obama did.
Yep. Remember,
Yes.
Joker Joe he supports all this stuff, and people were told, but they didn't want to listen. So black people, sadly, we were the ones who voted for this mess, and we're the ones who are going to suffer as a result.
Listen to this.
Can't hear anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't know why that is. Hold on a second.
Walking down.
I'll replay it.
Too often, we've turned against one another. A mask, the easiest thing to do to save lives. Sometimes it divides us. States pitted against one another instead of working with each other. Vicious hate crimes against Asian Americans who've been attacked, harassed, blamed, and scapegoated. At this very moment, so many of them are fellow Americans. They're on the front lines of this pandemic trying to save lives. And still, they're forced to live in fear for their lives just walking down streets in America. It's wrong, it's un-American, and it must stop. Too often.
All right. That was Biden's address to the nation, or at least a snippet of it. You could go to Vox here and take a look at it. But that was part of what he had to say in regards to crimes against Native Americans. You guys heard it, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. But when I look at this, too, where did Bernard go?
I'm right here. I had to give me a bottle of water, man.
Oh, okay.
I had to give me a bottle of water.
Chilling on the bed. Yeah, we're good. We just showed the video. All right.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, so black people, especially the elder folks, they helped put this man in. And people who I look up to, even my family who voted for him, it's hard to even talk with them. And I mean, people have a right to do what they want to do at the end of the day. They're going to do it. People make up their minds instantly. It's hard to change things, but I think our generation, we see the writing on the wall. Most people weren't even excited when Biden became president. In fact, when he was at the Super Bowl, remember, they were booing him. All of those people that were there. So a lot of people were not excited. I think, and who knows, Bernard believes finesse was run on him. I know Pastor Childress. He's been on. He thinks that they stole it. I won't say that they did or not because I don't want YouTube to take this channel down. Although screw YouTube, uh, screw Tube.
Hey,
But
well, let me say something about that, Gavin.
hold on, no, don't say it yet. But
I
but
got
Shawn, I'm gonna let you speak in a second. But Shawn, I don't know if you thought that a finesse was pulled with this election, but
Well, I won't say that a finesse was pulled, but I will say people were manipulated. I mean, a lot of black people, they were the ones who took their booties to the poll and they voted for Joker Joe because they were told that he was going to be able to do something about the pandemic. And I believe that black people, sadly, they were the ones who fell for this okie doke. I mean, we had groups in New Black Media trying to warn people that this Joker Joe was not what he says he is. They tried to show you his track record. They tried to show you his history. But most black people, all they were thinking about was evil orange man. We have to get rid of evil orange man. Not understanding that if they want to get rid of evil orange man, you should get some tangibles in exchange for your vote. So we had a politically inept black group that just went out here and voted in mass, giving Joe Biden states as related to the electoral college. And that was one of the things that was really irks me is that most of these black people voted for this candidate based on feelings and not based on trying to get an agenda pushed through. Meanwhile, all these other groups are getting their agenda pushed through. And Asians who primarily voted for Trump, they're getting all sorts of protections from Joe Biden. And that's really disturbing because here's a group that voted for Donald Trump in large numbers and they're getting tangibles, they're getting executive orders. But you, Black American, who went to go vote for this man, gave him entire states and even gave him the Senate in Georgia. What do you get? You get nothing but excuses. You get nothing but lectures. You get Obama 3.0. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, I did something important, but what did you get for your vote except absolutely more of the same that you got with Barack Obama? And that's really the sad thing about a lot of these black Americans. They're sitting there watching the people who voted for Trump in larger numbers get their tangibles, watching Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, people who voted for Trump in large numbers getting your tangibles and getting their agenda pushed through. Meanwhile, you voted to elect this guy and you're on the back burner.
well, I think we got one big thing, and that is Michelle rocked the shit out of that dress at the inaugural.
Yeah.
Camilla with the chucks and pearls. Yeah,
well,
Michelle work. Yeah.
well,
No, you were trying to make a point earlier about the election.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna say it was a finesse, and the reason why you know it's a finesse because if you talk about it, they're gonna
Say
strike your
alleged.
channel.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the reason why. But
Right.
I just want to make a little. I want to make a little laugh about something that you said, and it's something that Shawn said too. Shawn, it was a lot of people that stayed home, but you are so right that the Asians who voted for Trump at 31%, even Muslims and Pacific Islanders and everybody else, Alaskan tribes, you name it. They said, look, joke, what you call him, Joker Joe, we don't support you. We like the policies of Trump. We're not with this socialism. But Joe Biden still say, hey, look, I know y'all ain't vote for me, but look, I'm gonna still give y'all something because this the way we want America to go. We're gonna give you all the protections. Also, the Asian thing is also like a little bit of a smokescreen too, because I think they're trying to use it to pass the Equality Act as well, and they're also trying to get other legislation passed in there. So
That's a
things
good
they wouldn't be
point.
able to get done right now. But you're talking about they're gonna get it done under this. I mean, including the transgender stuff. But let me say something, and I know he's gonna get to it later. Oh, Michelle, you look good in that dress. I guess, but I'm glad that Michelle got pushed back last week when she tried to look good with that stunt she pulled with Dwayne Wade's son. So she finally got the pushback she deserved.
Yeah. We can talk about it a little bit later. I will move on to the next subject, of course. Uh, the Derek Chauvin trial. Of course, that's going on. We just talked about that. They're still in the process of what's called voir dire, which is where they do jury selections. And I believe in the last week, only 3 jurors have actually been selected, some of whom they've been asking questions about whether or not they could be fair and impartial. Uh, it was also announced that the appellate court had reversed a decision by the judge to dismiss the third degree murder charge against Derek Chauvin. However, it was reinstated by the appellate court, and we see that is going on right now as we speak. They reinstated the third degree murder charge, which carries a 25-year sentence if he is convicted on that. But that does not mean necessarily that you will serve 25 years. Uh, Gentlemen, obviously I try not to get too emotionally involved in these cases because I know how they typically go. I remember the Trayvon Martin incident where I was when that happened. That was a Saturday night when they announced the verdict, and I was with my girl at that time, and I watched it from our home, and I was, of course, numbed. I was hurt, and like a lot of black people were at that time, because it was like a re-killing of Trayvon Martin, where they mentioned his past. They actually slandered him, saying, well, he wasn't 17. He was just 17. He wasn't a boy. He wasn't a kid. They tried to take that away. Well, if you're under the age of 18, you're still considered a minor, no matter how tall you are, what tattoos you have. You're still legally a minor. He couldn't vote. He was not in the military. None of that mattered. And, he beat the crap out of George Zimmerman because this man was stalking him. He did right to defend himself. But some people think that it's being set up that these officers may walk. Murder is always a hard charge to prove because there's the intent element of it. But even the Attorney General, Keith, I remember when she gave her press conference, it seemed like she was trying to set it up that way, if you remember. Keith Ellison, I should say, where they were announcing these charges, but they were skeptical. He almost didn't sound confident in it when they announced this last year, but we'll see what happens. Gentlemen, what do you all have to say about this going on right now? Shawn, I'll start with you.
Well, when I look at this whole Derek Chauvin trial, I see the fix already being set up. They've already selected 6 jurors so far, and it looks like they're not trying to get a jury of George Floyd's peers. They've gotten an immigrant on the jury. They've gotten a couple of other people on the jury, like who are not really, as I see it, understanding of the case. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing how the prosecutor is practically rigging this case to get Derek Chauvin off, because we know sometimes the police and the district attorney work together and they don't really want to punish this rogue officer for the murder of George Floyd. And what they want to do is continue their gaslighting campaign. And I believe the prosecutor is going to start gaslighting people by saying, oh, George Floyd was culpable in his own death. And we're going to get a whole lot of farcical statements by the prosecution to try to find a way to excuse the murder of George Floyd that we saw in front of us. And they're going to try to get this officer off, and they're going to try to get back to business as usual. Now, what is going to be the big factor in this whole case is how is the black community going to respond? I mean, we saw lots of rioting during the days of the lockdowns and the pandemic. And I'm thinking that many of these prosecutors think that these protesters have practically burned themselves out, because a lot of them, when they go out here and they do these charges, they're playing chess, while many of these black groups like Black Lives Matter are playing Candyland. They get their feelings out, and then we get no sort of response afterward. Like in the case of Trayvon Martin, we didn't really see the black community really give a push to demand anything, and that's why we got no federal civil rights charges filed against George Zimmerman. And in this case, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see your Black Lives Matter. They're not going to be doing any sort of pushback. And that's going to lead to things going back to being business as usual. And again, the variable in this whole thing is how is the Black community going to respond? Because if the Black community responds like it usually does, where we get a whole bunch of loud protests and no real action to punish these rogue officers, it's going to sadly go back to business as usual.
All right, Bernard.
Shawn is right. It's business as usual, but I think this time it's going to be a little bit more egregious because one thing you got, BLM has been exposed. I mean,
Yeah.
they were already getting exposed last year, but now the father of Mike Brown is saying, wait a minute, I want $20 million or $25 million for using me. So
Yeah.
they can't come out and fool anybody. Now you got BLM Patrice Cullors saying that my feelings are hurt because my community has been attacking me and they're helping right-wing politicians, and I don't care because I'm here to stand up for Black folks no matter how much they throw dirt on my name. BS. You raised all that money and got these corporations donating you all this money. Come on now. Pay your hand this money and give it up.
Well,
yes, you're right.
You know,
Black men and women need to push back, but I would say this: this cannot be no marching no more. The time for marching is over. Marching is it's not even really aggressive, really passive. And the problem with it is that BLM has been told by the administration, look, stand down. No more defunding police talk. What he telling you, he got us kicked in this election in the House seats. That's what Biden told him. So they already know, they already got their marching orders. So I guess they're trying to do a repeat of the Rodney King 30 years ago. So something else is gonna happen in this time frame. They're gonna try to spark something else. But we just gotta watch how they're gonna play it. But they are setting the groundwork because they have jury this week.
Remember this though, Bernard. Remember this though. The protesters that we saw, what we witnessed last summer, were mostly all white. What we saw, people looting and rioting, those were white folks that were out there, not Black folks. There were some Blacks, yeah, of course, out there, but it was mostly white folks. Like Kyle Rittenhouse, he shot at white people, not Black people. So that's the stuff that's that's part of the stuff that's going on right now. So when we're looking at all of this, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what if they try to do something else to to purposely set this off? I don't know what the jury, Shawn, obviously the jury makeup than I did. If you have an immigrant on there, how many Blacks are on the jury right now? If they've only picked 6, they have 6 more to go. So how it's going to depend on that. But of course, remember, even in the case of the brother that was shot up in Minnesota as well, who was the concealed carrier. His name escapes me. You guys know who he is, but he was shot by his girl in front of his girlfriend and his girlfriend's daughter. Philando Castillo. That's
Philando
it.
Castillo.
Yeah. Remember, they had Blacks on that jury too, and they acquitted the cop who shot him. So having Blacks on the jury don't necessarily guarantee you a guarantee. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you a victory. Rather, you had 2 Blacks on Bill Cosby's jury too. They voted obviously to convict him, and we got this stuff that goes on. People don't stay on code. People don't even follow the laws that they are given. Most people will make decisions even if it's based on their feelings. But it's interesting to see where this goes. We just got to play it by ear. But if it's set up where Chauvin is going to get off, all hell is going to break loose. That's just my feeling of what's going to happen. And you say not to spend the Black dollars in other communities. Yes, that's a good point too. But the thing is, though, too, is that the other communities are set up in our community. Their businesses are in our areas, like the gas stations, the grocery stores, the foods markets and stuff. They set them up in our community too. So I tried to, I was talking with a friend of mine uh, who owns her own salon. We talked about the fact that how black people are the biggest consumers of hair products, Shawn, but yet the Asians and Arabs have literally boxed out black hair store owners from getting access into that industry. And you talk about billions of dollars. They have boxed them out completely. You can't get some wholesaler supplies, anything like that, without going to them, and they have cut them off from that because they distribute those products.
Yep, took control of our industry. I mean, it's sad that our hair is controlled by Koreans and Arabs, and sadly, that was because one generation didn't value the business and didn't pass it on to the next generation and teach them the value of the business, and that was really one of the
The
sad
Chuck and
things.
Pearls crowd.
Yeah, because the boomers
Hey
did not
Shawn, I
teach
was in
them. Yeah,
Hey Shawn, I was in
yeah.
a. It's funny that he said the Checks and Pearls crowd because I was in a bar about 3 weeks ago, maybe about a month now, and there was some ladies in there, and I was out there passing out some business cards, and I happened to see, look at this, and it was red and white on. I said, but on the back of the shirt it said Chucks and Pearls. They were having a good time. I said, oh man, oh y'all didn't wear this in a bar, did you? Wow, it was kind of insulting, man.
Well,
Yes.
that's if it's red and white, that's the deltas.
It is
I'm
what it
sorry.
is, man, but it's still
On
insulting.
Well, that's sad.
It's still
That's
insulting,
sad.
man.
Yeah, well, the deltas, it's the deltas, the AKAs, the cutie pies, the sigmas, and the iota. They call all of that's part of the
Kappa.
divine nine. Yeah, I said the kappa. Those are the female sororities, but the males, of course, are alpha phi alpha, omega, psi phi beta sigma, kappa alpha psi, and there's the other one, iota, I think is the other one. Yeah, they all make up the divine nine crowd. Now, I have family members and friends, let me be clear, and colleagues who are in fraternities and sororities, so I'm not necessarily knocking them, but I know Shawn and Bernard don't really care for it too much, so and some other people, but anyway, I digress. So we also, I want to do something positive next time when we're on here. I want to talk about, see if we can bring up a business plan. And I don't know if this would be wise to put it on YouTube because somebody could steal it, but I want to know how we can get into these industries again. How can we get a gas station owned in our community? What would it take? How much is it going to cost? Because we got to circulate the money. We got to circulate the dollar. We got to be willing to support one another if we want to survive. That's why when I was on the phone a couple of weeks ago when we did that show with shared with Dawson about and I made the comment about the black attorneys and people thinking a white man's ice is colder. There's a reason behind it because so many of us will say, well, where are all the black attorneys? Where are all the black doctors? And where are all the black teachers and entrepreneurs? Well, their businesses have closed down. Why have their businesses closed down? Because you don't support them. You don't support them. It's very simple. If you want to see shows like this continue, you got to support us. So you guys see that Cash App at the bottom. Please support it, Gavin Richard Esquire, or at Google Pay or PayPal. You see the emails there, and support Shawn and buy some of his books, including Eternal Night. Uh, you can support Brother Bernard. That's his Cash App, 1919BJ, 1919BJ. Buy Eternal Night by Shawn James. We have them come on every Thursday. We're going to continue this discussion about some other things. Let's talk about. I gotta get. I gotta get your opinion on this, Shawn, because Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle and what's been going on
Oh
there.
man.
I, I got to get Shawn's opinion on it. In particular,
This is
earlier
funny
today,
stuff, man.
there was stuff that was going on with Sharon Osbourne and her co-host Cheryl Underwood. with regards to whether Piers Morgan was racist or not, and Sharon Osbourne doing her best Karen on the show, crying her eyes out. She was all cried out like Lisa. And uh, but I gotta ask you, and if you could, I I know you only do this on your channel, but if you could respond with regards to Pierce and Meghan Markle, because it's coming out that they actually tried to date at one point, and I guess she ghosted him for Prince Harry. Uh,
Well, I think she was leveling up. That's what was going on. And Piers Morgan is extremely sour because the Duchess of Ratchetness was acting hypergamously. She saw a TV host and she wasn't and said, I don't need to get the TV host because I can get the prince. So the Duchess of Ratchetness wanted to monkey branch, and now Piers Morgan has some sour grapes regarding the situation.
Oh,
So that's what's happened here with the Duchess of Ratchetness. And when we look at the whole situation with that Duchess of Ratchetness, she's now talking about racism as related to the royal family, not understanding that they are the first family of white supremacy, and that's why she's getting absolutely no sympathy. When we look at your Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Ratchetness and former Duchess of Sussex, all she's just doing is showing us how ratchet she truly is, and she's not making herself look good in any way, shape, or form. She's trying to make herself out to be the victim in this situation, but nobody sees her as the victim, and the whole thing is practically blown up in her face.
well, I thank you for doing it in the accent. But Shawn, just in seriousness, you have to see at least the criticism that she's gotten. Some of it, it of course being unwarranted. Like for instance, how they treated Kate with regards to an avocado and how it was for the baby's health, and then they did the opposite with Meghan Markle and her baby, saying she was a bad influence, and then also talking about how she was at one point how she came from the wrong sides of the city, talking about her mother and so forth. There certainly is in the tabloid, certainly is racial element that is applied in here, racist element.
Yes, there are racial elements here in this story, but your Meghan Markle, she had to have done some research on this family. I mean, this is the first family of white supremacy. What did she expect to come from this family? What did she expect? I mean, you don't walk into a lion's cage and it's not expect to be devoured. I mean, she went into the first family of white supremacy and expected tolerance and treating to be treated well. That's completely foolish. I mean, these people are descended from the people who were a part of the transatlantic slave trade, and these were the people who were a part of making it a place where black people were enslaved. I mean, what was she expecting from the first family of white supremacy? Was she expecting them to accept her with open arms? I mean, that's just completely foolish. And what I think she did was she came into this with delusions of grandeur because she never claimed foundational Black Americans. She never claimed Black people. And now she wants to come back and play the victim. But you can't play the victim by going over to a group of people you never claimed, never supported, never wanted any a part of, and then talk about racism. You were trying to pass for white, and now these white supremacists in the first family of white supremacy show you how black you are, and now you want to come and be the victim. Well, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for the Duchess of Ratchetness. The only thing that's happened here is that this Duchess of Ratchetness got her N-word moment, and now she's upset that she cannot go back to the black community because the black community is just not accepting her and her nonsense.
Cheerio, chap. Now, I think Meghan Markle, she has suffered quite enough. I certainly think that she certainly has gotten to her wake up. Although I don't necessarily like to call, I don't
Bloody
like to call, I don't like to call her a bitwitch per se, because technically she has not thrown the black community under the bus like your Stacey Dash, who wants an apology. Well, piff. She gets no acceptance of her apology from me.
Well,
However,
as I see it, that bloody cow, Meghan Markle, can start off.
yeah. See, I got Shawn to laugh. Shawn's laughing. No, but in serious. Let me play. Did you see this video, Shawn or Bernard, with Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood?
No, I have not seen it.
Bishop says Cheryl was an embarrassment. I've heard about it. Cheryl, she has said some stuff. Her and Lonnie Love. I don't know what it is. Where do they get these women from on all of these shows? They got to have the big black ugly woman that sits on these chairs. Like, do they do a casting call for this? And you got to throw your men under the bus, like Lonnie Love in particular. I don't know so much about Cheryl, because Cheryl and Lonnie, I don't know them personally. I've been Facebook friends with them. I know Cheryl threw Bill Cosby under the bus. I know for sure Lonnie Love, she threw black men under the bus. So I really don't have any good things to say about her.
Second.
What is it? Okay. But I'm going to play the video when Bernard comes back. What do you think? I got to ask you, Shawn, what do you think of Piers Morgan leaving?
I could care less about Piers Morgan. I mean, one white supremacist decides to leave a show, they just replace him with another. That's what happens in every case.
Good evening, Dr. Carmen Johnson.
Yeah, man. Hey, Dr. Carmen, always a pleasure.
Let's play the video, shall we? Let's see what this says. Let me know if y'all, first and foremost, if y'all can hear. Can y'all hear?
Not yet. I can't hear anything.
Oh, God. Okay, let me turn it to the volume and make sure the audio is on. Oh my bloody goodness. By the way, Shawn, do you have any tea?
No, I didn't have any tea just yet. Just got to drinking a beverage, a soda beverage.
Oh, soda beverage is nice, especially with fish and chips.
Yes.
I know he has a right to say what he feels on the interview, as we have a right to say, and everybody has a right to say what they feel with freedom of speech. Did I like everything he said? Did I agree with what he said? No. I feel even like I'm about to be put in the electric chair because I have a friend who many people think is a racist, so that makes me a racist. And for me, at 68 years of age, to have to turn around and say, I ain't racist. What's it got to do with me?
But I want you to hear from me.
I will ask you again, Cheryl.
Yes.
I've been asking you during the break.
Right.
I'm asking you again. And don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. This is the situation.
Yes.
You tell me where you have heard him say, educate me, tell me when you have heard him say racist things. Educate me, tell me.
It is not the exact words of racism. It's the implication and the reaction to it. To not want to address that because she is a Black woman and to try to dismiss it or to make it seem less than what it is. That's what makes it racist. But right now, I'm talking to a woman who I believe is my friend. And I don't want anybody here to watch this and say that we're attacking you for being racist. And for that, if I articulated
I think it's
anything,
too late. I think that seed's already sown.
But that is why I'm saying for me. I'm saying for me. For me. I thought I was asking a question about the perception for other people.
Oh, cheerio. So, you're Sharon Osbourne.
I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the right to be allowed to have an opinion. If people want to believe Meghan Markle, that's entirely their right. I don't believe almost anything that comes out of her mouth. And I think the damage she's done to the British monarchy and to the Queen at a time when Prince Philip is lying in hospital is enormous and frankly contemptible. So if I have to fall on my sword for expressing an honestly held opinion about Meghan Markle and that diatribe of bilge that she came out with in that interview, so be it.
All right, let me say this too. Piers Morgan, of course, was the host of CNN Tonight, taking over for Larry King. The show got canceled. It's never been the same since. Frankly, I could do without Piers Morgan, especially when he was attacking the Second Amendment. I think he should have been kicked out of the country just for bringing down Larry King's show. But you saw Sharon Osbourne put on her Karen performance. Bishop Scott says Sharon is being very aggressive towards Cheryl, and Cheryl is being very weak and humbling in her response, crying. Bernard, I didn't hear from you on this. What you think?
I don't know. I like that term that Shawn gave her, the Duchess of Rightness, but just a sideshow, man. From everything going on, got Oprah conducting the circus, and my thing is, and I was on the Real Dana show earlier, but I was even told Kulik and them too. Like if I saw Meghan Markle, like the day I was on the rocks and getting these sunlight, last 2 days been 75 degrees here in Virginia. In the middle of March, the beginning of March, I was on the rocks or whatever. And if I saw somebody 50 yards away, I wouldn't have known Meghan Markle was mulatto till I saw her up close. If I was 50 yards away. And that woman, when she first got married, like 2 years ago, I said, "Who's Meghan Markle?"
Where's all the black girl magic? We got a black princess. The dreams that can come true, where the dream is a nightmare.
Okay. And then I looked at it now like, she getting this much press? She's not even worthy of the press. She never claimed. Meghan Markle reminds me of Cardi B and Kamala Harris and them types. People who claim to be something for advantage purposes to avoid victimhood, but then they play the victim role too. So it's kind of weird. It's just another game being ran on us. I'm glad. Anytime, first of all, the All-Star ratings suck, but this got more ratings than All-Star. I'm glad I never looked at the interview, Okay.
Wait, hold on.
So I'm glad.
Look, let me show you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep talking, Bernard. What you was finish your point.
I was saying that I'm glad I didn't even pay attention to Oprah and her, because I know this when I heard about this. This ain't gonna be nothing but a sideshow. Right. Yeah, she tried to a little bit more. She was young, huh? See?
Yeah, the kinks went in. She had some nostrils before. I knew she had some nostrils before surgery.
Looked like she had some skin lightening cream.
Them edges were on fleek. Them edges were cut. Personally, I think, and I know Shawn may disagree with me. I certainly think, of course, a lot of attack on her is racial. But let's not forget, and Shawn, you made this point, she married into the first family of white supremacy. The British monarchy made its millions, its money, and stands on blood. On the blood. Look, they have colonized practically every nation in the world, excuse me. Every nation in the world in some way, shape, or form, whether you talk about China, whether you talk about Australia, you talk about India, you talk about parts of Africa, different nations, they've all been colonized by Europe, in particular the British Empire. That's how they were the largest at one point. The United States was colonized by the British Empire at one point. So they're the first family of white supremacy. And to be shocked that she was going to be asked questions about, what color would her child's skin be, that doesn't surprise me. What was interesting too was that they asked Prince Harry about straight up, are you a racist family? And he said, of course we're not a racist family. But, you know, I remember when Prince Harry, her husband, let's not forget, he dressed up as Hitler during Halloween. And in fact, Meghan Markle's own father called him out for that. Y'all, if you guys saw that, I don't know if you've heard that, but he said, at least I didn't dress up as Hitler for Halloween. I remember when he was dressed up like that, and I'm trying to see if I can find that article. But yeah, he slammed Meghan Markle's father, half sister, slammed her after Oprah interview, and I think her dad, you know, they have a falling out over a lot of stuff. But Thomas Markle is her father. But I just think that's interesting that happened. Yeah, he said, at least I never dressed up like Hitler. And I laughed when he said that, because that's true. He did dress up like Hitler. So that was him there. Look at that.
Yep.
And look, I really believe, it's my honest opinion. I don't know how true it is, but this is what I believe. I think that his mother, Princess Diana, who was pretty cool, I think she was killed. I think she was murdered because she was pregnant with Dodi Faye's, allegedly pregnant with Dodi Faye's baby. He was a Muslim from Egypt. They didn't like that. Even Dodi Faye's father, who is a multi-billionaire, that family is rich too. They've done their own investigation, and they think that Diana and Dodi Faye and that driver were all killed. Because you think about that, and Tariq Nasheed said this, who runs from the press? Who runs from the press? Laugh out loud, black folks with their conspiracies. Well, what you think, Kenneth L? You ain't saying nothing. Sound like you're white. And that's not
Could
black
be.
folk with a conspiracy. That's not black folk with conspiracy. That's actually been multiple people. Oh, you calling yourself Kevin Spacey? Okay, so you punk. You guys kick him out of here. Where my mods? So, yeah, but I remember this.
Yeah, it was documented that there was a lot of stuff going on with Princess Diana. So
All right, you can stay, Kenneth L. Yeah, a lot of people think that something was going on with Princess Diana. A lot of people think something was going on with her and her death. You know, you guys can Google, but yeah, I remember this. But the dad has a point. The dad had an excellent point. Yeah, Dodi Fayed was a film producer, and he was the son of a billionaire. Yeah, Muhammad Al Fayed. Yeah, his dad is the one that thinks that even something happened. Yeah, a lot of people suspect that because you know, that would have brought certainly a having an African, an Egyptian in the Buckingham Palace didn't sound good to, I guess, to the royals. But yeah, but yeah, it was very interesting that happened. But that's been going on for years. You can look on Wikipedia. They actually have a Wikipedia page, "Death of Diana, Princess of Wales: Conspiracy Theories." And you know what? Who knows? That might be the reason why Prince Harry married uh, Meghan Markle, a half black woman. to get back at them. Remember when she got married to him, they took their titles away, saying you're not going to be in line for succession. He wasn't in line to begin with. There is no. We're going to take your titles. You're not going to be the Duchess of. You're not going to be a Duchess. He's not going to be a Dutch. They took all of that away. So I thought it was just interesting that all that stuff was going on.
Well,
Finish. You guys can leave a comment. Yeah, y'all can
Yeah.
say something.
Well, they stripped them of their title because they didn't want them as part of their white supremacist institution. I mean, I saw the whole thing getting ready to set up even after he introduced her. I mean, again, this is the first family of white supremacy, and in order to be a part of that family, you have to follow some unwritten and unspoken social rules. I mean, that's all part of what people call white privilege, that in order to receive the benefits, as Professor Black Truth talks about, the giveaways, good givebacks, and goodies of white supremacy, you have to follow certain unwritten social rules. And the unwritten social rule they have as related to marriage and the family is you have to marry a white woman. Yes, they will go along with the formalities of, oh, we'll let this, but you go out here with this biracial to a point. But when it comes down to bloodlines and heirs, these white supremacists, especially the first family of white supremacy, doesn't play. And if you don't want to play along, they show you the door. And that's why Prince Harry was stripped of his title and sent on his way, because the first family was like, no, if you're not going to follow our rules and follow our unwritten guidelines for being a part of this institution, then you're going to have to go out here and be on your own. And that's why he's been struggling ever since he left the first family of white supremacy.
But he can always go back. She can't.
He can go back only if he submits to the rules. Now, if he files for divorce, disavows
That's what I
these
mean.
children, he can be allowed back. But the whole thing is that he's trying to hold on and try to play that he can, this integration stuff, but they're not accepting you unless you follow their rules.
Right. I know Bishop and Rosalind. Yeah, I know he would be a Duke. She would be the Duchess of England, and so forth. But they shut all of that down. And so what we have going on, Duchess of Sussex, excuse me, and the Duke of Sussex, excuse me, that's what I meant to say. But DJ B-Side said the closest thing to look like an afro that they allow in Buckingham Palace is a palace guard's bearskin hat. Yeah, that's a good one. They don't even have black servants either.
See, this is why I was triggered by this a little bit. I wasn't triggered, I was laughing. I'm like, look, y'all already know you won't get into the royal family chick. Give it up. You know, they'll let you marry because her dad is white. And I think also she has some type of ancestry in her bloodline, German or something like that. But the point of the matter is, look, you the Duchess of Ratchets, and like Shawn said, be happy with it and go on your way. I mean, look, we didn't ask you to give us a sob story and all that. We know about the royal family. It's the British Empire, baby. I even Bishop put it in the chat. The sun never sets on the British Empire. Remember that.
Most indeed. Two more topics, gentlemen. We'll just get into it. Of course, I talked about the Biden administration allowing transgenders now to get full access and benefits for sex change operations. These are veterans and these are active military. They can undergo surgery. But also what happened too, Michelle Obama got dragged on Twitter and Instagram. Kenneth, you were not banned. You're still. How are you banned and you're still talking? You're still on. I hate when.
That's kind of weird right there.
Look, I'm not gonna look at this. All right. So Michelle Obama gets dragged. Yeah. Where? See, I hate when you guys distract me with stuff like that. Yeah, she gets dragged for praising Zaya Wade. This was Dwayne Wade's son, who is now living as a daughter who came out as transgender last year, and had a heart to heart conversation with Michelle Obama, saying uh, during the chat, Zaya asked Obama what advice she has for teens who wants to be themselves and thrive like you have and currently are. She gushed, calling Obama her idol. This is what the article from Revolt News says. And I'm just so proud of you being an amazing role model and embracing your youth, Obama told Zaya, who came out as transgender last year. If you remember last year, Dwayne Wade said that uh, if you three, he said that he always knew that his child was transgender or wanted to be a girl by the age of 3 years old, which I thought was hell of problematic that he would say that. We also saw last week, I played the video of Biden's incoming secretary from the Department of Health, who is transgender, coming in, and Dr. Levine, who was asked by Senator Rand Paul about transgenders, children. Do you accept children consenting to getting sex change operations? And she would not answer the question. He would not answer the question. So you guys see this. Bernard brought this up earlier. I'll let Bernard take the lead on this one, and Shawn, you can come in and give your opinion.
All right. Well, let me start it off exactly on this one, brother. So I was leaving the gym last week, and all of a sudden, somebody just sent me a text and said, "Look at this." I said, "Whoa!" And then it got deleted. Now about 2 hours later, I'm like, "Whoa!" You ain't having a conversation, and you should keep speaking your truth, but you're speaking your truth when you're living a lie. You know that's a boy. And let's face it, man. Gabrielle Union got more nuts than Dwayne Wade. I mean, I used to love Dwayne Wade, but as a basketball player, he's great. But he done with this stuff, man. He done completely off the top with it. Now, with the Michelle Obama thing, what do you expect? When Obama was at Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina, she was lighting up the White House in red, rainbow flags or whatever. So it's not surprising, but it is what it is. I mean, just today in New York, a private school just today said they need to eliminate the terms of mom, dad, say grown up, and so forth and so on. So what Michelle is doing is just a replication of Obama. I mean, everything they're doing is getting back to the good old Obama days of transgender and sexual identity. But the worst part about it, just like with Jason Collins and Michael Sam and so many others, they use us the face of a movement that we don't even have money to back. So just feminizing the black male again, and it really should be child abuse. It's a damn shame they can't. But I'm glad that people did drag Michelle Obama on Twitter for what they did. So that's good. That's a start of something. Because we should be dragging them through the mud anyway. We should have been dragging them back then when they were doing it. So, like I said, it's never too late to start.
All right, Shawn.
Yeah, when I think about this whole Dwayne Wade's son, Zaya, or whatever he's called, I really think that your Gabrielle Union, in some ways, is subconsciously getting revenge on the man who raped her many years ago. Now, what many people don't know is that your Gabrielle Union was a rape victim and a rape survivor, And I believe that she subconsciously deeply holds a hatred of black men. And she's using this boy as a way to get back at that rapist who violated her all those years ago. So what she's doing is emasculating not only your Dwayne Wade, because if you look at him, he's just completely emasculated. The boy is also being emasculated. And the woman, I think, is leading this boy, telling him, oh, you're like this ever since you were 3 years old. I think that's her making these statements, not him. And I think she's leading and abusing this boy. And when I look at this whole situation, it looks like child abuse to me, because a child does not know what they're doing. They don't know these kind of decisions as related to sex and sexuality at such an early age. And I really do believe that it is Gabrielle Union leading this boy because of the trauma she encountered, and in some ways is subconsciously trying to get her own revenge on that rapist by taking it out on her son. And she hates that man who raped her so much, she wants to take it out on this boy. And then she wants to also emasculate Dwayne Wade. And this is how she takes her power back. So we're thinking, oh, this is about the whole agenda as politics as related to transgenders. No, this is about the trauma of your Gabrielle Union. And people are just out here thinking that this is a celebration and empowerment. No, this is about a mentally disturbed woman who has never really resolved her trauma as related to sexual violence. And she's never dealt with that sexual violence. And now she wants to take it out on her son. And she's destroying her son by effeminizing him. Stepson. Well, the whole thing is she's feminizing him, emasculating him. And she's also effeminized and emasculated Dwayne Wade. And this is all about her taking her power because, again, I have read the books by Susan Brownmiller, a feminist who came from the 70s, who talked about, in her book, Against Our Will, Men, Women, and Rape. And what is happening here is the same type of power dynamic where she's basically going out here and raping these men by stripping them of their manhood, stripping them of their masculinity, and emasculating them because this is the only way she can feel powerful in the situation and take power over that man who violated her all those years ago.
Well, I definitely agree with you on that. I wondered if that might be the reason. I think that's a great point. The other aspect of it is I got to look at Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade, I think it's worse for him because as a man, you're allowing this on your children, and we're seeing celebrities that are accepting this and so forth. My thing is, and I'm not trying to attack this child because this is a kid. Clearly, is that we don't know how this boy, he's a male. His own mother still calls him her son. I believe his name is Zion. Actually, that was his birth name. His mother still calls him her son. And I don't know what the relationship is now. Obviously, I think it was on bad terms because Dwayne Wade, I remember she was his first wife. She was kicked out of a house and was on the streets begging for money and so forth or something along those lines. And nasty custody battle, nasty divorce that was going on. So I wonder what she thinks about it. Obviously, she's not I don't know what her earning capacity or anything is, but let's put it this way. She's not as popular as Dwayne Wade or even Gabrielle Union. She obviously does not have full custody of those boys. I would call, and I don't know if I would get in trouble for even saying this, man, because it's like you can't speak truth anymore without somebody getting upset and trying to cancel you, like with this cancel culture thing that's just gone too far. But I think it's wrong that this child is exposed to something like this. We're going to see more of it. Last year I even thought Child Protective Services should have gotten involved because this is a 12-year-old. Who knows? One day they're taking hormone blockers. They may come to regret this decision. In some circumstances, it has. I just think kids need to be kids and enjoy themselves. But by me saying this, I'll be labeled as a bigot or hater. Shawn, you'll be labeled as a hater. Bernard, you'll be labeled as a hater. Uh, I don't understand this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, when I see Zaya, I see a future man in crisis, and I see a man like the ones I talk about in the man crisis. He's one of these beta males, and sadly, he has a beta male father in Dwayne Wade. And we look at both of them, and we can see that they follow this pattern I talk about in the man crisis. These men are going to become ticking time bombs, and eventually, they're going to wind up self-destructing or exploding because this boy, again, we can see that he's on a bad road, just like I see Halle Berry's son on a bad road. And these women are thinking, oh, I can help. I'm raising this boy in this way. But you're raising a boy who's going to become dysfunctional because once he starts to enter adolescence and then into adulthood, he's going to realize the impact of his decisions. He doesn't even know the consequences of his actions. I remember being a teenager at that time, and you don't even know who you are at that age. You're just still trying to figure out who you are. And then when you get into your 20s and your 30s, you're going to have a lot of regret because a lot of the decisions you're making, you don't understand the gravity of them. You don't understand the consequences of them. And you don't understand what you've done. And that's what a lot of these people want to keep buried, is that these kids don't know what decisions they're making in their lives. And these decisions can actually destroy them when they get older. So I look at this whole situation. Everybody's talking about how empowering it is. But I see how this young child is being exploited because, again, if you're 18 or 21, you have a better understanding of self and a better understanding of the decisions you make. But this boy really doesn't know anything, and he really needs some guidance. I say especially some mental health counseling because he needs to figure out who he is before he makes any decisions like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you something. Are you guys at all worried? When you guys give your opinion, are you worried about the labels that you get as far? I don't think you are, but I just want to know for the audience about losing your job or losing viewers if you are perceived as being quote unquote homophobic or transphobic. You know,
I'm not worried about those type of labels. I mean, I've dealt with worse than this. I mean, I remember like in 2019 dealing with the whole passport thing and losing half of my Patreon donations as a result. But I stood my ground, and then people respected me. And you have to stand your ground with these kind of people because if you cave to them and give them what they want, they're not going to respect you anyway. You're not a bigot. You're just presenting an opinion with facts. And if these people don't want to hear it, then that's on them. I mean, what I'm presenting is an argument as related to taking care of a minor. And as I see it, a minor is not in a position to make these kind of decisions. If you want to make these kind of decisions as related to your sexuality when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, that's on you. But this is a child who does not know what sex is. I mean, I remember, again, being 12 years old. I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know anything about sexuality. I mean, even when I was 13 years old, I didn't even know anything. And I took sex ed classes in junior high school, still didn't know what these decisions were or the consequences of them. I mean, I had kids peer pressuring me about having sex at 14, 15. And it wasn't until my mother, talked to me at 16 and told me that fornication was a sin. And even then, I didn't understand until I started reading the Bible for myself. And I read the part of the Corinthians, I think, where it said it is good for a man not to touch a woman sexually. I didn't understand what those things meant until I started developing my relationship deeper with Christ. So that was like in my late 20s, early 30s at that. But you don't really understand these concepts in full as a preteen or a tween. You don't know anything about these concepts. And to say, oh, a child wouldn't understand. No, a child doesn't understand these things. They don't understand the emotional aspects of sex. They don't understand the spiritual aspects, the mental aspects. They don't understand that there are numerous things as related to sex, as related to connecting and bonding with a person. They don't understand what these things mean. So I don't care about people saying, oh, you're a homophobe. I'm like, no, I've had people when I was being bullied calling me gay because I didn't have a girlfriend. And now you have people saying, oh, you're homophobic. But I've already dealt with this many, many years ago. So I've dealt with this kind of stuff. So I'm not afraid of these kind of people. I know that these kind of people, what they want to do is impose their will on you. They want to try to control you, but you have to stand your ground with these people. and you have to stand on the word of God like I have, and that's what you have to do. And eventually you may lose in the short term, but people will gain respect for you in the long term.
That's right. I'm glad you said that. And somebody put it in, yeah, the term is heterophobic. They are heterophobic. I'm not homophobic, transphobic. None of us is worried about them. They're worried about us because they know that we're going to say something because we think that something is wrong. Yes, it
Right.
is the gateway to pedophilia. You read the Equality Act. That is the gateway to pedophilia. And I want to make a statement about that Equality Act just because that's what they've been trying to push lately. Nobody wants to talk about it. Your churches,
Go ahead, William.
your
Go ahead.
ECUs, and your institutions, if they don't take federal money, I mean, if they don't bow down to this act, if it gets passed, they will go bankrupt.
Well, what
So
will happen? What's going? No, but what's really going on is that okay, and I got into it. I told you guys how I got into an argument with somebody over this stuff because he was served in the Marines and thought, you know, I want somebody that's messed up serving with me. There's nothing wrong with transgenders in the military. Yeah, I think it's wrong. I think they should be allowed to serve. I said, well, let me ask you something. If you're physically fit, in order to join the military, don't you have to be physically and mentally fit to serve? He's like, well, why? They want to serve. They should be able to serve. They'd be other. Okay. They get benefits all the time. And he's not realizing the stuff that's going on with this thing because how's that going to work in the Middle East? How's that going to work? I'm just curious with the commanding officer that's 6'8" and wears 6'6", wears high heels or makeup and so forth like a woman. What if they get captured by the enemy? You got to think about stuff like that. I'll never forget, even outside Tel Aviv, Israel, when Barack Obama was president, they had the LGBTQ flag flying up over the United States Embassy, which really is a violation of protocol because the only flag that should be at an embassy is the United States of America flag. They don't put the black national flag underneath it in embassies across the world where the United States are. It's just the United States. So the fact that Barack Obama as president would allow something like this, and I'm pretty sure Joe Biden will do the same thing eventually, I think was insulting because that solidifies a nation. That stinks of nationalhood. That's what that LGBTQ flag stands for. So the American flag should have been the only flag that was present. But I'm not afraid of it. I mean, I told you guys about what happened, Shawn and Bernard. Yeah. Well, what did you think?
I'll let Bernard go first.
Yeah.
I think you're talking to somebody who daggone, he full of daggone. He need to catch a break, man, or something, man. Tell him.
Well, it's not
tell
just
him really
him.
think what he's saying. Oh, well, hey, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just find out how weak-minded people are sometimes, and they just can't handle the truth, man. It is what it is. I deal with it every day. It's like a zombie thing, man, That's why the CDC had zombie apocalypse, but we got other zombies walking around us, too.
Yeah. But, yeah, I get, Shawn, I get that.
Yeah, I get a guy who really, he doesn't understand the big picture of things. He's in his feelings about this whole situation. He doesn't understand that if this person goes into a combat situation and they're not mentally well, because a lot of these people who are taking these type of things, they have mental health issues. They could compromise a mission in combat where they will give away the secrets to the enemy, or they'll give away position to the enemy in order to get things. And then if we take these type of individuals to countries like Muslim countries, where those countries, they don't tolerate that type of stuff, you're going to wind up creating an international incident. So in this effort to promote so-called diversity, you're going to create an international situation that's not going to be very pretty. And you cannot go out here and talk about tolerance with these other countries if they don't tolerate it at all. I mean, I look at the whole thing of them trying to put their flag next to our flag. That's a statement of saying you're going to be a nation in a nation. And if you're going to do that, then you're no different than what they had with that whole Confederate flag in some ways. I mean, we have the Confederate flag, which was not a valid flag as I see it. And you're going to have this flag too. It's like, no, there's only one flag everybody should be under, and that is the flag of the United States of America.
This is, let me show you all. I'm not making this up. This is an actual picture of the United States Embassy. This is outside of Moscow. This is in Moscow.
Another country that doesn't put up with that stuff.
No.
It makes us look weak. It makes us look really weak. I mean, countries look at these statements and they see weakness. They don't see strength. They see, oh, you're allowing them to have power just like the you, and that's like making them vulnerable. They don't understand. This sets a really bad image for us internationally.
Yeah, this is, so that was real. So yeah, man, that really, I didn't understand. You know, that's not something that should be allowed on a United States embassy. You know, people have a right to freedom of speech and put what they want, but if we're going to be one nation, you got to be one nation, not a nation within a nation, as you stated, Shawn.
Yeah.
And, you know, to that point, while I have not served in the military, no, I don't know what it's like to have bullets flying over me. I can tell you that men like my grandfathers, I don't know about you, Shawn, if you had family members that served in World War II or Bernard, but you know, they did not even dare think of this stuff being in the military at that time. These were men. My grandfather lived to be 96 years old, uh, you know, and while he actually won several medals, both of my grandfathers served in World War II, and my mother's father, he actually got medals, including for European campaign, for bravery and so forth, for his work in Germany, even gunning down a German sniper with a machine gun from a bell top. He did what he had. Well, yeah, he did what he had to do, and you know that had nothing to do with you know.
Having
Yes,
this thing in the chest.
yeah, he did. Those men did what they had to do. My grandfather flew supplies over to the Pacific at a time when blacks weren't even allowed to touch the planes. But the white colleagues he had, his fellow sailors, they loved him so much they let him fly while they fell asleep from time to time. So that was the type of stuff that black people had to go through. My grandfather's brothers, all of them, they all served. So you know, I don't consider this in the same category of fruit. No pun intended when I mention this, but you know, a lot of people are missing the boat with this, and it's not me being hatred. It's not me. You're missing the boat. And then when you're talking about, well, they shouldn't be allowed, you know, with the school aspect, uh, you know, I'm not going to focus too much more on that incident. But when you're saying, you know, let's just say people that think it's okay to have them in schools, and to have it in schools where boys could play girls sports. I mean, my goodness, are you saying it's so? You're saying it's okay to have physical activity, and if your response or anybody's response is, well, the girls shouldn't play. Well, this was their sports to begin with, so how can you say it's fair for them to leave, but others who are coming in taking advantage, and they're taking hormones to be allowed to do that? That I don't get. But we're a ball of confusion, as the Temptation said.
Yep.
Let me say something. Yeah, I was laughing at that. I was laughing this thing in the chat. Bull can 250 full. I guess he's saying that it's a 45-year-old man that said he felt like a little girl and actually found a family to adopt his ass. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm tripping off that one, man. That's the funniest comment I've ever seen, man. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, he was saying, I don't even want to focus on it. Y'all know how I feel, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm not going to talk too much more. But
Okay.
about it. But yeah, but it is what it is right now. So y'all support the Cash App for Brother Bernard. Y'all also support it. But we're gonna get into the wind down right now on the last couple of topics. Pepe Le Pew, of course, being banned. Shawn, I know you did a video on it. I don't know if you want to say too much again about it, but I think, like I said, when we talk about cancel culture, it has gotten out of hand. Pepe Le Pew is actually being banned from the new now for over 60 or 70 plus years that they found time to actually ban him, actually since 1945, is utterly the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because out of all the stuff that you could write, all the stuff that you could write in the New York Times, whether it's about homelessness, homeless problems in the United States, people's Medicare being screwed over, you found the time to go over a joke that Dave Chappelle gave from his Killing Me Softly HBO special in the 90s. You found time to make a story about that by saying Pepe Le Pew per- perpetuates rape culture. I'm sorry. This is the this is utterly stupid. This is the most stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. We
I'm
have
glad
really
you're getting
fallen
mad.
off. We have really fallen off on the deep end, America.
Oh man!
Racist as
Wow!
much as the old Merry Melodies cartoons were
Hey, black
racist.
man.
The original Elmer Fudd was black. You could go look at it. His mannerisms were based off of Step and Fetch It. Uh, Disney used to have racist stuff in it. You could find more stuff to look forward to. Actress Gracie Santano says she's disappointed that her scene with Pepe Le Pew has been cut from the Space Jam sequel.
Wow! Miss
That's
Piggy
it's
too. Miss Piggy and everybody else.
Miss Piggy, but they're not talking about Miss Piggy.
When they brought up today.
They only focused on the male. That's the thing. The male's this. It's just like what they're trying to do with James Bond in the James Bond film.
yeah.
Hey
This
man,
is
International
just
Women's Month, man. It's International Women's Month. They're trying to make sure they do good for the women. Well, it is what it is. But yeah, Pepe Le Pew. Who they coming out next? Johnny Bravo and everybody else. Shit.
I just find it to be embarrassed. New York Times should be embarrassed for the guy who wrote this article. And what's really sad is that we got a black man who wrote this ridiculous article, and editorial went and put this in their paper. I mean, again, just like Gavin said, there were so many issues we're dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. We're dealing with people about to lose their homes, people about to lose their businesses, people on the brink, and you're going to write an article talking about how a cartoon skunk from the 20th century is promoting so-called rape culture, a concept that only came about in the 2010s. And this whole article is just absolutely ridiculous. And it lowers the standard as related to so-called America's paper, because this is not any sort of news that was fit to print. This was just an embarrassment as I saw it. And even more embarrassing was Warner Brothers going out here and canceling this fictionalized skunk and talking about how, again, it's all about so-called rape culture. But again, like I said in my own video, where when I did my research on Susan Brown Miller's book, Against Our Will, Men, Women, and Rape, none of these guys ever talked about Pepe Le Pew. No, they said that most of the sexual violence primarily comes from men who have power issues. And from my own research on criminals, many of these sex criminals, they primarily came from single mother households that came as a result of the feminist movement. So you're sitting here talking about this fictional character who came about 60, 70 years ago, had nothing to do with any of this sexual violence or sex crimes. And again, this article just came from a guy who was writing from emotion, and he had no facts to substantiate his whole article. And as somebody who studied writing for over 30 years, I understand that if I'm going to write a op-ed piece or any sort of article, that I have to substantiate my argument with facts, not feelings. And this guy, he didn't substantiate his arguments with any sort of facts. He just wrote some emotion. And what's sad is some editor at the New York Times practically tarnished the reputation of the paper by approving this trash as a article. And what's even sadder is Warner Brothers goes and reacts to it, showing us how people in this cancel culture are just really sad. I mean, we have to start pushing back against these ignorant bullies out here who write these garbage tier articles like this and let them know, no, we're not going to go along with this. There are facts that prove that this guy's claims make absolutely no sense, and cite hard sources, just like I did in my video, to show that this guy coming out here with feelings is not making any logical sense. I mean, the way we cancel culture is with hard facts. And the way we push back against Twitter mobs is by letting them know that we're not going to react based on feelings. We are going to respond by using logic and reason. And if you don't come with logical, reasonable arguments to present your points, then there is no reason to listen to your arguments at all. And we are not going to respond by punishing someone based on somebody's feelings because they formed up a mob on social media, because many of these people in these mobs on social media, they have too much time on their hands. These people have no jobs. And we're sitting here being afraid of a group of people who practically are not buying the products and not even contributing in any way, shape, or form to society. Why are we getting angry? Why are we dealing with these kind of people and their feelings? Because a lot of these companies, they're afraid, oh, it's going to hurt our brand. It's like the CEO of Barilla already proved that point. I mean, Barilla pasta continues to sell. He had to deal with an SJW mob, and he told that SJW mob to F off when they tried to complain, and people are still buying Barilla pasta. And American companies, they have to start getting some backbone and some stones and let these people know, look, you want to talk about canceling us? Go right ahead. I could care less. And we're going to continue making our products because a social media mob is not the real world. And in the real world, we deal with real people with real problems and focus on things like the COVID-19 pandemic, helping out those people who are struggling, because this type of, again, clown journalism, it doesn't deserve the attention that it got. And these type of people, they don't deserve any sort of platform. I mean, he practically wasted a platform on the New York Times, the so-called newspaper of record, and as a black man, embarrassed the entire black race.
Yeah, this was a black man that did this too. Oh gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a black man, and he embarrassed
Black
the
man
race.
or a simp? He Oreo. Which
He was one of these Oreo, I don't know, beta male simp types, but
Oreo leftist? Yeah,
he embarrassed the race.
Hey man,
Moistosaurus,
right.
Pepe Le Pew.
Hey, look, man, that stuff is so,
The French. The
that
French.
stuff is funny. Man. Wow. Look, Shawn, it was such a stupid journalist thing going on. I ain't even bothered looking at the race, whether white, black, polka dot, whatever. I just thought the whole thing was just damn stupid.
Yeah, it was
You know, I
stupid.
never really thought about Pepe View because he won't even be the best Looney Tunes, so I ain't really paid no attention to him. So, but
I used to love
it's gonna get worse. I mean, yeah, I'm a Fud Porky Pig. I mean, goddamn, man.
Well, Roland
Shit.
Martin is bringing him back.
People got too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to go find a hobby or go start a business. I mean, I look at the internet. There's so many opportunities out here, but your SJWs, they spend their time looking for make problems instead of working on building solutions. I mean, if you work on solutions, you're going to create businesses, you're going to make money. But these people, they just want to look for a problem. They're just like what I said in one of my live streams about the guy who stands outside the store or stands in the store. He just is standing there, and then when the store owner tells him to leave, he wants to say, "You're a racist." It's like, no, you're not doing anything here. You're just in my store taking up
Black
space
Mama.
and
I didn't
alienating
see
my
your Dana's
customers.
channel. I'm sorry. But Black Mama, thank you always being supporting me. Thank you. I didn't even see you in Dana's chat.
What's up, Black Mama?
Sorry about that.
So,
I missed it.
what video were you talking about, Shawn?
It's a video I did today. I'll put a link to it so everybody can find it.
I know you did one about the Uber drivers that were assaulted, but
I did that one, but then YouTube took that one down for copyright of some news media, so I put it on BitChute. So I had to take that one and replace it with a new one on BitChute without the footage in it. And I have a other one I did with the Pepe Le Pew, so I can put the Pepe Le Pew one up. That one I 32. That's a 32.
The Pepe Le Pew. You love the French cut. He likes to kiss the pussy cat. And now they talking about Speedy Gonzalez. How do I hear? Yeah,
Yep,
you know, all of those.
The Latino community is pushing back on that one, saying that they like Speedy Gonzalez. So that one's blowing up in the SJW's face. They're trying to say, oh, that Speedy Gonzalez is racist, but the Mexicans and Hispanics are saying, no, it's not racist, and it's blowing up in their face.
Well, you know, the actor who did the voice of all of those Looney Tunes characters, Mel Blanc, very interesting. I'll just put it up right. Farside said Shawn did a good video roasting Coming to America. We're going to talk about that in a little bit because I need to actually do my I just haven't had a chance to just being so busy, but I need to do my analysis of the film because I saw it. But but yeah, the actor Mel Blanc, he actually was on Jack. You guys don't know this, but he did a routine with your Jack Benny back in the day, the Seaside Soul routine, and you can hear he was the voice of Bugs Bunny and all of those other characters, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck.
But did my man come over and put some of my clothes in your luggage?
That's him there. I don't think y'all can hear, huh?
Are you going to New York?
Y'all hear?
I hear it.
Are you taking flight 18?
Yeah.
But that's how Speedy. You can hear Bugs Bunny.
What's your name? Sai.
A lot of people thought that was funny. Even like you said, the Mexican Americans and Latinos, they pushed back on it.
Because in Latino culture, they make fun of this stuff all the time. I mean, you watch Univision or you watch Telemundo, they run these type of gags all the time.
Yeah. So I like old school comedy. If y'all haven't figured it out.
Look, Sue or C. Look, Sai, when we get to New York, how will I get my clothes? Jack, pay me 88 cents a pound. 88 cents a pound? See? Oh, see. Every time I ask Rochester to do something for me.
Yeah, but that was a little old school. But, yeah, but Mel Blanc, of course, he's the voice of all of those Looney Tunes characters, the voice of Barney Rubble. Yeah, he's been dead for a while, like 32 years. So, yeah. But, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, they're talking about canceling Speedy Gonzalez. Who else will be canceled? Probably, they certainly going to keep Platypus. Remember, he was the gay character on Yogi Bear. He was the pink one.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Yogi. Yeah. He talked like Humpty. Who else? So who's gonna be next?
I don't
It's
know.
not gonna be
Johnny
this
Bravo.
biggie. Johnny Bravo, I
Bravo.
think they'll get him next. Who else? I think Johnny Bravo's
Daffy
gonna be
Duck?
next. No, they're not gonna get Daffy Duck. They're not gonna mess with the Disney characters because Disney's too powerful. But Pepe Le Pew, they might I don't know, they may have might get Sylvester the cat because Sylvester tries to eat the Tweety bird, and it might upset the vegetarians and so forth. You know, or the people against cruelty to birds.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
Yeah, suffering, and that would be suffering succotash if that happens. Yeah.
Oh
Black
man,
Mama
that's
Speedy
funny, man.
Gonzalez. Speedy Gonzalez had a cousin named Senor Slowpoke. Uh, the rooster.
Hey, Gavin.
Foghorn Leghorn. That big old southern
I
rooster.
saw
I
three
say,
outside today. I saw 3 roosters outside today. I should have took a picture of them and sent it to you because they probably will cancel the daggone rooster.
I say it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Just kind of like my Aunt Jenny. That big old southern rooster, Foghorn Leghorn. You go get him, boy. You, yeah. I say. That my Mammy Two Shoes. Now that was racist. They got the Tom and Jerry movie that's out. Let me do this. My final.
Cancel Peter Pan. They gonna cancel Peter Pan.
They canceled Peter Pan over the Indian Native Americans in it.
Yeah.
All right. So Coming to America, I got to do a video on it. Actually, I'm going to talk about it on my podcast that'll drop. Have it finished sometime between now and Saturday. Shawn has talked about it to the point that he wants his money back from all of his followers who asked for a video. I did request and ask because I thought it'd be interesting to have your video up, but since I'm promoting your books and your Cash App, Shawn, consider this payment. Uh, uh, but Bernard, did you get to see Coming to America?
No, but I tell you what, daggone, I know one thing about Coming to America. Shoot, after all that stuff about Meghan Markle, she had her Coming to America moment. So, shit. It's only right that they released her interview around the same time. But I'm going to look at it over the weekend, most likely.
I'm going to do a review on it. I'll just say this much about it. I thought there was some positive aspects with the film in regards to the fact, yeah, I like seeing an all-black cast per se. I certainly liked, the women in the film were beautiful. I thought that, especially Tatiana Taylor. I mean, she's fine. She's cut. Like how she was gorgeous. The sets were great. I thought that Wesley Snipes, he was the one that really stood out for me. Because other than that, I was not impressed. And this is what I'll say too now with my criticism. I wasn't exactly impressed with the writing, with the story. I thought it repeated some stuff. I think that it was too little too late as well, because I felt that the time to do a Coming to America 2 would have been at least 3 or 4 years after the first one. You could have seen where Akeem was doing, how he was getting ready to take over the throne, and his father. His wife is about to have a baby, something along those lines. I'm not trying to give it away because I know you got to see it, Bernard. But I didn't. Yeah, I thought, of course they gave Leslie Jones the most ratchet scenes. Eddie Murphy can't be edgy anymore because we're talking about cancel culture now. It's like he had to step on eggshells, and the guys who wrote the original Coming to America wrote this one but they also had it on another writer, Kenya Burris. Now, David Shutfield, and I have here, it was directed by Craig Brewer, but the writers are Barry Blostein and David Sheffield. Now, what's interesting about Blostein and Sheffield was that they were writers on Saturday Night Live with Eddie Murphy. So they have a repertoire with Eddie. They wrote Coming to America, they wrote Boomerang with him. They also wrote The Nutty Professor, the updated version. So they added on Kenya Burris, who wrote the screenplay. And, uh, I didn't think, Kenya Burris, of course, he has made uh, he's written for obviously for Blackish. It's announced now that he's writing Uptown Saturday Night, which is a reboot of.
Oh,
Oh God, there's Shawn. Do it again, Shawn.
that just he just gonna mess it up because everything he does, he puts this self-hating comedy in there. This the stuff that makes black people look bad, and I really cannot stand Kenya Barris. I mean, if I could go out here and put one of my scripts up against his, I think I would do better than he can do because everything he does is black people always looking to seek out white people's opinions and validation, or black people trying to fit into stereotypes to be acceptable to white people. And I can't stand Kenya Barris. I can't stand his content. And he just destroys everything he touches.
Yeah, Bernard. I don't know if you know who Kenya Barris is, but he's the producer of Blackish and creator of
Yeah,
Blackish, Grownish,
yeah.
Oldest, Mixedish.
Black
Uh,
Black is another psyop, but yeah.
He also has the show. He wrote Shaft. He has Black as F, which is the show on Netflix.
That show is
Shaft.
garbage. And he made Shaft into a beta male. I mean, he took masculine alpha male Shaft and turned him into a complete punk.
Right, but do you something that? Yeah, but something very interesting. I saw this. The brother Jermaine Fowler, who played Prince Hakim's son. Someone has a picture. Boyce Watkins showed a picture where he was on. You ready?
Yeah.
He was on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh. Oh.
Sean's getting a headache.
Uh, uh,
Uh,
that's what I can't stand about your Kenya Barris. I mean, he just picks the most emasculated, soft, weak black males. That was one of the things I hated about Coming to America was just the representation of black manhood was on the level of The Color Purple in terms of just demonizing the black man, presenting the black man as just soft and weak. And that was one of the things I hated about this movie. I mean, I grew up with movies where I saw black men being black men, and I look at this movie and these guys are they're just punks.
uh, well, let me show you. Hold on. Do I need to show the picture?
Go ahead. I mean, this has to be some kind of bad if a dude is in Drag Race.
It's not bad. It's the real deal.
Uh,
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean. I know it hurt. If this thing will pull up, hold on. It looks like I can pull it up. Hold on. No, it's not pulling. All right. Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh, I hate when StreamYard does this because, okay, here it is. And I'm
Oh
not
yeah, I
trying
saw
to.
that shit.
I'm not trying to knock the dude because he seemed like a good brother, but
the things these guys do to get in Hollywood, that's sad. You practically allowed them to strip you of your manhood. That's just sad. Dude is completely emasculated, and he doesn't understand. That's what Hollywood does to black men. They only black men, because white men, Asian men, they don't have to go through this type of emasculation process. And I guess this dude is just going to get a push now because they've emasculated him like they did
well,
many other.
He's already gotten a push. He was actually in the new Judas and the Black Messiah movie.
And that's why, because they were able to put him in a dress. If we look at every black actor, they either put him in a gay role or they put him in a dress. And that's why they get these pushes, because they allow themselves to be emasculated. And this guy, I just feel bad for him because that's going to be stuck with him for the rest of his life. I mean, he's allowed them to buck break him on screen.
He played Mark Clark, actually, Bernard, in Judas and the Black Messiah. He actually had a show called on CBS called It Didn't Last Long, about donuts. It was called, you guys know the name of the title. If I'm saying it wrong, let me know. Superior Donuts was the name of the title.
I remember that one. I watched a couple episodes of that one. I mean, but he sacrificed his dignity for a movie. That's sad.
That was in 2020 when he did that. So
yeah.
Yeah. So practically everybody in that film. When I think about it, when I look at it, everybody in Coming to America, every male, maybe with the exception of James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman and Oha, have been in drag.
Yeah.
Think about that. Tracy Morgan, he did it on Saturday Night Live. I look at Eddie Murphy, of course, Norbit and the Clumps. I look at Arsenio, he did it on Coming to America in 1988. Remember when he played the one that was flirting with Eddie and Arsenio, where he was eating it was fun, even though it was funny. I'm not gonna it was funny to see that. But damn. I mean, like everybody I can think of, even Wesley Snipes. And I love Wesley. Wesley was, to me, he was really what made the movie actually be an okay movie. If it were, if this were not a sequel to Coming to America, I didn't have my hopes too high with it. But, I could just tell you, put it to you like this, Shawn, my parents looked at it and fell asleep.
Yeah, it shows you how bad the screenplay was. Because when I was a teenager and I saw Coming to America, it was a very solid comedy. I mean, I think one of the problems with this film is it misses John Landis. Because John Landis, he knew how to make these scenes work, and he also knew how to time the jokes so that they would be able to execute properly. And Eddie really needed John Landis, but him and John Landis didn't get along, and he wound up walking away from John Landis. But John Landis made many of the classic Eddie Murphy films like Trading Places, and I think he did Beverly Hills Cop. And
he didn't. It was Martin Brest. But
all right, that wasn't him.
He did Animal House and
he did Animal House, but he did some classic comedy. Yeah, and his timing. He did his timing, and his ability to work the camera and make the scenes flow made those films strong. And we really needed John Landis on this film, because I think he would have tightened up some of those script scenes. And the whole film was not up to par, because Kenya Barris, he can't write a screenplay, and the Craig Brewer, he's okay, but without John Landis, you really don't have that guy there who really knows how to make the mechanics of comedy work.
Yeah, Craig Brewer, he did Hustle and Flow. That was his first major movie that he did back in 2005. I remember seeing that. That was one of the last movies I saw before Hurricane Katrina. I remember when that came out. Yeah, but Coming to America, and they're talking about doing part 3 where Eddie will be 75 when he does it. I think they should just let it go. And I didn't like the feminist agenda that was in it, that they were pushing. Anything a man can do, I could do better.
that killed the movie for me. I think they should just end it right there. I mean, this film is 30 years too late. It should have ended. If you want to do the sequel, the time was 93, but at that time, Eddie was doing Distinguished Gentleman. He was filming Nutty Professor and taking his career to where he got the Disney stamp on the back of his neck. But the time to do Coming to America was at the most 93. But there's no need for him to even revive this. I felt really bad for the actors in this film because this felt like one of those bad 80s reunion movies for one of those 50s sitcoms. I mean, this was a painful film for me to watch because, again, I remember as a kid seeing Eddie Murphy in his prime. I mean, I grew up with prime Eddie Murphy. I grew up with all these actors when they were young and they were top-notch actors.
The barrel don't come up short. Tell Vera to bring her fat ass in here.
I grew up with this stuff at the top of the game. I mean, Coming to America was in the theaters when I was in high school. So seeing this, it just made me shake my head because it's like looking at an old man who's trying to do bits like he did when in his prime. And it reminded me of so much of Lucille Ball in 1987 when she tried to do the Life with Lucy show. And she was still trying to do the I Love Lucy type bits from the 50s. And it wasn't getting over. And then Lucille Ball realized, hey, this isn't getting over anymore. I can't keep doing this shtick anymore. And she eventually wound up retiring because she couldn't do it anymore. The audience wasn't into it. And that's what Coming to America really reminded me of. I mean, Eddie has evolved so much. I mean, when I look at Dolomite Is My Name and I see the skill he put in Dolomite Is My Name, I mean, I see a comedian who had evolved and took himself to another level. But then he falls so badly because he brings back this old franchise. And this old franchise just basically just embarrasses him because he's trying to do bits that he's already outgrown and already evolved past.
Well, I'll just say this. Well, even in that movie, Is My Name, which he was great in, I thought Wesley Snipes stole the show in that. Wesley is a comedian at heart. I loved Wesley, and you getting sleepy, Bernard? We'll get off in a second.
No, I
Let's do a pillow.
Wesley was in that Wong Fu movie.
Yeah, he was. Wong Fu. Right, I remember. That was when, after he did Jungle Fever, when he gave it to Annabella Sciorra, and and they had to emasculate Wesley. And then, of course, they put Wesley in Blade. Remember, Wesley fought to have Black Panther.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the technology back then. I think he would have been better, and it's no disrespect to the dead, Chadwick Boseman, but I think he would have actually been better as Black Panther because of the martial arts skills that he possessed. And that was something else, too, I didn't see in the film. I think they could have done it, especially in some of the fight scenes. But his African accent was on point. I thought that was funny. But, and like I say again, I love looking at the women in it. But, you know, if you gave me Tatiana Taylor as my bride, you know, if she whatever she wants to do, that she would do she would do whatever I say. That's a plus. A woman that's not gonna complain, especially if you miss her anniversary. Oh hell yeah, that was great. Ain't that right, Bernard?
Hey man, here's what it is, man. I'm just tripping off it. But I do want to say this, that you're right about they don't need to do a part 3 and all that. So that's good.
Yeah. And James Earl Jones, I mean, he's
They
getting
do a part
up
3. They want to
90
reboot
years
everything.
old.
Space Jam,
He's
everything. They
90.
want to reboot everything. Some movies don't need to be
even
remade.
flying. Yeah, well, they couldn't even fly with James Earl Jones because of his age. But it was Morgan Freeman was in it, which I thought was interesting because you have two of the most respected actors and voice artists uh, in the film, which I thought was great. But yeah, but I think not having John Landis, not doing this sooner rather than later, really hurt the film. We'll see what happens in the future. I don't know what I remember Eddie was talking about doing a Beverly Hills Cop 4. They've always been talking about that and doing There was originally a TV series that was greenlit like some 9 years ago, but it fell out for whatever reason. But they got to come up with some new stuff. And, you know, Eddie Murphy is about to be 60 years old. I don't know if Eddie could even go out and do stand up because you notice they're starting to go after him now for some of the jokes he made in Delirious and Raw. They're coming at him. I remember when Dolomite came out, they were coming, trying to get the this gay black dude that was in Dolomite, Titus Burgess, who was in it, and they wanted him to shame Eddie for his jokes, and he refused to do that. So shout out to him because at least he stood on code. Uh, but Eddie Murphy, you know, of course, I remember when he criticized Bill Cosby or made fun of him on NBC. So, but Eddie, you know, those guys, they got to be very careful because, you know, they could have a Me Too charge drop on them at any time. I mean, it don't matter now. Everybody's fair game. They went after
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba is was his co-star in Coming to America. He was the boy in the chair. Speaking of which, Shawn, what is the status on that case? Just curious, since we're hearing about Cuomo.
It's still in limbo. I mean, it's just they have not gotten back to it.
I see. Well, gentlemen, I don't have any more further to say. There's been another edition of Random Topic Thursdays on channel G Boo 2786, and I'm proud to say that we had a great show. We also had great viewers. I see we stayed consistently with our numbers. We got about 30 to 35 people that are watching on channel G Boo 2786. Shout out to all of you because you all have come out. Hopefully, we can increase that and increase my subscribers. I was on a show today for the NNV News. Shout out to them for having me on earlier, where we talked about the George Floyd trial, the Derek Chauvin trial, and the Daniel Pruitt death. So Northern Bell, I see you, DJ Murphy, DJ B-Side, 1965, Vulcan Soul, all of y'all, Rosalind, Black Mama. Please, guys, contribute to the Cash App. It's great. Like, share, and subscribe this video. Black Mama, I love you. Rosalind, what's up, Tanisha, if you're watching, dear? DJ B-Side, Bingo Gavin. Yeah, he wasn't too on food. So, guys, I'm gonna close out and let you guys talk. I'm gonna let everybody know what you got going on, Shawn.
All right. Well, what I've got going on is the SJS Direct 2021 catalog books, and those include John Haynes' Taking Care of Business, which will be available in paperback and Kindle format on March 20th, and you can pre-order the Kindle right now and get the paperback right now. And I also have ISIS: Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, which is coming out on April 20th of 2021. You can get this book pre-ordered on Kindle right now, and you can get the paperback right now. So that's what I've got on the marketplace for the SJS Direct 2021 catalog: ISIS: Revenge of the Cyber Goddess and John Haynes' Taking Care of Business. And I also have other books available on the SJS Direct catalog, like Eternal Night and the John Haynes series books and the ISIS and East series books. You can find all those books on Amazon.com today.
Heads up, Shawn.
Yeah.
Bernard, why don't you tell everybody what you got going on? I know you've got your company you've created, a fitness company. You've sent me a link. You also have a blog. You want to tell anybody about it a little bit? Tell everybody about it. Did we lose Bernard?
Did we? I might have lost him.
I think we did. He's frozen. Well, that's Bernard's Cash App. If you guys want to donate to Bernard, 1919 BJ. That's 1919 BJ. Y'all support Brother Bernard. We're going to be on tomorrow at 3 o'clock on a Judge Joe Brown show. Yeah, it looks like we lost Bernard. Anyway, guys, that's been it for me. Shawn, if you can stay on just for a second when we cancel the broadcast. But
Right.
Just for a few seconds. I'm not going to keep you long. But, guys, that's been it for me. Thank you. We've had a great show. This has been another edition of Gavin Richard Presents on channel GBoo 2786, Gavin Richard, and Facebook, and on Periscope. Of course, they tried to censor us, but as Puff Daddy said, can't stop, won't stop. No, we ain't going nowhere, baby. So thank you all. We're going to keep doing this every Thursday, Tuesdays, and Sundays. We have a live stream. So you guys stay tuned. Y'all be safe, be blessed. I will see you all in the next one. I'll holla. And also, before I go, please subscribe to the podcast on Anchor, Gavin Richard Presents. It's my full name, Gavin Richard Presents, because we're now on Apple. So we're getting there. We're growing. I just gotta stay consistent with it, but we're gonna do big things. All right, guys, that's it. Peace, family. Peace, Black Mama. Vulcan 205. Full DJ B side, Rosalind, Squeaky G. I didn't see you, but all of my mods, everybody, computer robots. Thank y'all. Y'all stay tuned. All right, peace.